We have a little bit of a different episode today. We are going to be going over our personal free agent predictions, where we think some of the best hitters, starting pitchers, and relief pitchers on the market are going. Then after that, we are going to be getting into our personal dream Yankee offseason. And then finally, we're going to be answering some questions that were sent in by our fans, our subscribers, over on our Instagram page. Follow us on Instagram, Bronx_banter, for a chance to be in the video like this. As always on this podcast, myself, Chris, Robert over here. Robert, how you doing today?
Chris, I'm doing great. There's a lot of big free agents out on the market, and a lot of teams are looking to sign a lot of these players. So let's get right into it with Juan Soto.
Starting us off with Juan Soto. So before every player, we will be saying their stats, and then we'll be giving our predictions, how many years, where we think they're going. So starting off with Juan Soto stats. This previous season, Juan Soto was obviously with the New York Yankees, hit 288, had 41 home runs, 109 RBIs, 129 walks, which is the 129 walks, which is the crazy stat. He played 157 games. So this guy was on the field and he was playing incredible when he was on the field. If there wasn't a guy named Aaron Judge or probably Bobby Witt, he probably would have won the MVP. But Robert, where do you think Juan Soto is headed this offseason?
Chris, unfortunately, I got Juan Soto going out west. Psych! Juan Soto's going back to the Bronx. 13-year, $600 million deal. Juan Soto, you are a New York Yankee.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Oh
Come
my
on
God,
now.
you had me fooled for half a second. You had me fooled. I also have Juan Soto staying with the Bronx Bombers. I have him on a 14-year deal worth $630 million. And if you ask any Yankee fan, he is worth every penny of that. He needs to stay in pinstripes and not those damn Mets pinstripes, Yankee pinstripes, the OG pinstripes. Any final thoughts on Soto, Robert, before we move on to our next hitter?
Juan Soto, you know what you want. The Yankees, you know what you want. Let's come together, and hopefully you guys bought enough chicken buckets during the summer, and let's bring
Exactly.
our guy back.
That's what I'm saying. Simple as that. Make it happen. Next up on our list, we have the Dodger, the World Series champion, Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar put together a very solid season for the Dodgers. Hit 272 with 33 home runs, 99 RBIs. Did strike out 188 times, so that's a bit concerning. Played 154 games, so he was on the field. Teoscar is a very good player. Won the home run derby this year. Had a very high quality season. Robert, where do you think Teoscar is going to be playing?
Teoscar Hernandez will be going back to the LA Dodgers on a 5-year, $100 million deal. He's just a great player, and he's exactly what they want. He's exactly what the Dodgers expected and wanted him to be last year, and he was a big part of them getting that ring. So I think it's both sides got to come together, and they both want to come together and give him a nice, solid contract at the end of the day.
I also have Teoscar going back to the Dodgers on a 3-year deal worth $80 million. I think he's a great righty bat along with Mookie Betts to help split up the incredible lefties they have in their lineup, like Shohei and Freddie Freeman. So I think he's a big part in their lineup, and yeah, I don't think they're going to let him go anywhere because they don't have to play. They don't have to pay a crazy amount of money to keep him around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, heading on to our next hitter. This one's a little sad for us. This one hits home a little bit. Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres. What a season it was for Gleyber. It started further down than I can put my hand right now. It started in the basement. And then it ended with him hitting so good for the last couple months. But unfortunately, don't think he's going to be hitting in pinstripes again. This season, Glaber hit 257, 15 home runs, 63 RBIs, 65 walks in 154 games. I mean, good season for Glaber. Don't think it's going to be good enough to keep him in pinstripes. Robert, where do you got Glaber going?
Gleyber Torres, you're going out west to the Seattle Mariners, buddy, on a 2-year, $40 million deal. I wouldn't be surprised if this contract reaches like 60 million. He's going to be getting the price up there, but honestly, I think he wants a shorter deal. Try to prove himself a little bit more besides the second half of last season. And yeah, Gleyber Torres, good luck in Seattle, buddy.
Along with you, I also had Glaber going to the Mariners. I have him on a 3-year deal worth $60 million. The Mariners their hitting has always been their problem. I don't know what the word is I'm looking. It's always been their problem. They've had the pitching. Their pitching is elite. Their pitching is like the best in the league. But their hitting stats are down with the White Sox. No offense, White Sox, but you don't want to be near the White Sox in any category. I mean, it's just I don't know. They need some power hitters, and I really think Gleyber Torres could give them that little boost they need to at least get in the playoffs. Because if they get in the playoffs with that pitching staff, they could make a run. They could make a run. Robert, any final thoughts on our hometown kid?
Yeah, just to put into perspective of the Mariners uh, batting as a team last year, they're 29th in average, 21st in runs, and 25th in slugging. So they need somebody who can get on base. Gleyber Torres can hit the ball when he's right to the opposite field and hit home runs. So I think it's just a perfect match for both sides there.
Heading on to our next hitter, we have AL East player Anthony Santander. Santander had a very good year. He hit 235 for the Orioles with 44 home runs, 102 RBIs, struck out 129 times, so not too bad, and played 155 games. So, I mean, Santander obviously brings the switch hitting into effect, so that makes him that much more valuable to any team. But anytime you see a guy hitting 44 home runs, it makes you look at him twice because he is a great hitter, and whatever team gets him will be very lucky. Robert, where do you have Santander headed?
Anthony Santander, I have you going to the San Francisco Giants on a 5-year, $100 million deal. I think over the past couple seasons, the Giants have missed on Yamamoto. They've missed on Aaron Judge. They
Arson
missed
Judge.
they
Arson Judge.
Arson Judge. Excuse me. They missed on Carlos Correa. So they got a lot of money stacking up in the bank. And Buster Posey, I think he's going to be looking to spend this off season. I mean, why not? So Anthony Santander, welcome to the Giants.
I have Anthony Santander headed to your Kansas City Royals on a 4-year deal worth $90 million. Similar to the Mariners, kind of similar. Royals hitting, their hitting was not great in the playoffs. It was their pitching staff was really good. We saw that firsthand. None of the games were blowouts for the Yankees. They were all close, and it was because of their pitching. Their hitting was not good, but their pitching kept them in games. So if they get a hitter like Santander that can hit 44 home runs from both sides of the plate, I mean, that's great. He doesn't have the best defense ever, so you got to live with that. Maybe DH him a couple days, but people don't care about defense anymore. Let's be honest. If you can hit 44 home runs, they don't care about your defense. Robert, any final thoughts on Anthony Santander?
Yeah, like you said, I think his the only thing that would concern teams is his defense.
Hmm.
Especially in a bigger outfield, which most of these stadiums that are going to be interested in him. So I think at the end of the day, that's the only thing you really got to be concerned about with him. But his bat's going to bring what it needs to the lineup, and it's going to even that balance out. So why not?
Exactly. Yeah. Heading on to our next guy, another New York City guy, Mr. Pete Alonso. He had a pretty good year, hit 240, 34 home runs, 88 RBIs, did strike out 172 times. So that's a little up there. 162 games played, though, for Pete. Guy played every single day. Guy's a warrior. Got to respect that. I know the Mets love him. The city loves him. Robert, where do you got Pete Alonso headed?
Polar Pete. I initially had you going back to the New York Mets, going back to the Queens. But now that I think about this list a little bit more, I have you going to Seattle out west. You are a Seattle Mariner on a 5-year, $125 million deal. Like we were saying earlier on the show, the Mariners they struggle offensively, especially last season, and they need a big power bat in the middle of their lineup, and that's what Pete Alonso would bring. And I think the Mariners do want to look to spend a little bit of money this offseason. And they're an organization that can do so. And a lot of this depends on Juan Soto and where he ends up. But at the end of the day, he's probably going back to the Mets. But why not make it a little fun and have him going out west to the Mariners?
Yeah, you have fun. I'm no fun, I guess. Pete Alonso, you're going back to the Mets. I just don't see a world where Stevie Cohen is going to let that man leave. Like I said a minute ago, city loves him. He loves the city. I got him going back to the Mets 5 years, $130 million. Guy's going to get paid. Guy's a great defender at first base. People forget about it, I think, because you don't
Mm-hmm.
think of him as a defender. He's a really good defender at first base. Hits for power, has clutch home runs like we saw in the playoffs. I just don't think the Mets are going to let him go. Any final thoughts on Pete?
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree. There's no way the Mets let him go. I mean, he's just a
Yeah.
great player, and the organization loves him, and Stevie just prints money in his basement, so why not?
Heading on to our next hitter, we have Christian Walker. Christian Walker is a very underrated hitter in the MLB, I believe. One of the most underrated free agents that's available currently. This past season with the Diamondbacks, he hit 251, 26 home runs, had 84 RBIs, 133 strikeouts, wasn't bad at all. Played 130 games though. He unfortunately missed about a little over a month with a left oblique strain from the end of July to beginning of September. So that's always a injury that sucks to get, but hopefully he can come back strong this year. Robert, where do you have Christian Walker headed?
Christian Walker, welcome to the Bronx on a 2-year, $40 million deal. This is exactly what the Yankees need, a solid first baseman over at the corner. And at the end of the day, I think both sides, they both want to be surprised if this deal gets done. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure he likes to grow out his beard, so that might change his mind a little bit.
Get shaven.
But just shave it off, Christian. A ring at the end of the day is much better than that beard on your face. So let's come
Exactly.
over to the Bronx, Cashman. Let's pay the man. And at the end of the day, it's no different than Anthony Rizzo's deal. What was that, like 2 years ago? Similar deal. So
Yeah,
let's just,
2022, I think.
yeah, so let's, and Christian Walker, you could argue, is a better player at that
Yeah.
point in his career. So let's bring him to the Bronx.
I have Christian Walker headed to the Seattle Mariners on a 3-year deal worth $66 million. I think if the Yankees get Soto, which I do think they will, they're not going to spend much other money. Trust me, I would love to see them get Christian Walker, and I do think it's very much still in play. They were definitely my second team behind the Mariners. But like we were saying about the Mariners, they just can't hit. And I think they're going to go all in because, like we said, Christian Walker is underrated, I think. There's a lot of guys in this free agent class that can go under the radar a little bit that obviously aren't as good as Juan Soto, but if you stack a bunch of them together, they have the capability to provide what Soto can to a team.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Robert, any final thoughts before we head into our wild card hitters?
No, at the end of the day, he's going to get a nice deal. It's probably going to be short term, so it's perfect for the Yankees, but wouldn't be surprised if another team goes out and pays him a little bit more than what the Pinstripes would pay him.
So, me and Robert each picked a hitter, a starting pitcher, and a relief pitcher that the other person does not know about. So, now we're going to do the hitter for that. Robert, who was your wild card hitter that you picked?
My wild card hitter that I picked is Alex Bregman. He's somebody who kind of flies under the radar this free agent offseason, but obviously in his past, his career trajectory is really high in what he's accomplished so far in his career.
Mhm.
Last year, 260 hitting for average, 26 home runs, 75 runs batted in. So the guy can still swing the bat, and last season was kind of a off year for him. So I have Alex Bregman going to the Detroit Tigers on a 5-year, $130 million deal. I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if that reaches 6 years. I think it's what the Tigers want. The Tigers need a veteran presence on their team, especially with all those young guys all running around everywhere. So I think it would be perfect for them. And why not get Alex Bregman and AJ Hinch hooked up again to
Oh,
try
yeah, I
to
didn't
win
think
that
about
champ?
that. I didn't think about. Hopefully, no cheating will happen, but. For my wild card hitter, I decided to go with Brewers shortstop Willie Adames. Willie is coming off his best season as an MLB player, without a doubt. This past season, he hit 251, had 32 home runs, 112 runs batted in, 173 strikeouts, which is a bit concerning, but he played all but one game, 161 games. He was out there playing for the Brew Crew. He's a big part of why they won the Central this year. Guy's a baller. He had a great year. He's going to get paid. I have Willie Adames going to the Los Angeles Dodgers on a 5-year deal worth 140 million. I could very well see him going to a couple of the other NLS teams. I could see the Giants definitely, like you said, they're going to be in the market for somebody, and this guy is going to get paid. Whether he deserves it or not is another question because he's done this for 1 year. I think I would want to see him do it a couple more years where I really give him that type of money. But baseball, you got to just hope that he's going to continue it, and yeah, they're going to pay him. Robert, any thoughts on our wild card guys before I hop into our starting pitchers?
Yeah, Willie Adames, he's kind of somebody who's interesting. Obviously, he started his career, I'm pretty sure, with the Rays, and again
Hmm.
traded over to Milwaukee. He really showed his full potential. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple years he's playing third base, depending on how his health holds up there. But obviously, a solid player, and the Dodgers seem to have unlimited money, so why wouldn't you
Yeah,
want to go out to LA? So
exactly. All right. Starting us off with our starting pitchers now. We have Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns had a great year. 15-8 record, 2.95 ERA. That's good for 172 strikeouts over 189 innings pitched. He had 31 starts, so he was out there for most of the time. And when he was out there, he was pitching really damn good. Robert, where do you have Corbin Burns headed this offseason?
Corbin Burns, he's from the LA area, California. So I think he's going to the LA Dodgers on a 7-year, $210 million deal.
Oof.
I think it's what both sides want. If I remember correctly earlier, um, it must have been when the playoffs were rolling. He had commented some type of emoji towards the LA Dodgers. So I think
Hmm.
he has
I
he's
remember
in.
that.
I think he's interested going there, and obviously why wouldn't the Dodgers want this type of caliber pitcher in the rotation along with all their other guys that they have. So
I have Corbin Burns, unfortunately, headed to our division rival, the Boston Red Sox, on a 7-year deal worth about $180 million. I feel like the Red Sox for the past couple seasons, their hitting's been all right, but they just needed an ace. They don't have an ace. Cutter Crawford is not an ace. Nick Pavetta is not an ace. They need a true ace. And that's what Corbin Burns can be for them if they want to actually compete in the AL East with us and the Orioles. That's what they need is a true ace. And I really do think that Corbin can be that for them. They have the money. People act like the Red Sox don't have money. They have the money to do this. They need to go out and get their guy. Trust me, I'd be more than happy if they don't get Corbin Burns, but I truly do think that's where he will end up. Heading on to our next pitcher, we have Blake Snell. Blake Snell missed a majority of the season, but when he was out there, he was really good. Pitched to a 5-3 record with a 3.12 ERA. That's good for 145 strikeouts over 104 innings pitched. So obviously not as much as the other guys. He had 20 starts. Most of these other guys have high 20s to low 30s amount of starts. So Snell missed a decent amount of time, but when he was out there, like I said, he was really good. Robert, where do you have Blake Snell headed?
I got Blake Snell going back to the San Francisco Giants on a 5-year, $130 million deal. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up in the 2023 season. You had the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres, Rangers, and the Giants. A little bit of the Yankees were all interested in Blake Snell. He ended up signing that 2-year, $62 million deal, which had the opt out going into the second year. So he obviously opted out of that with his great second half of last season. So he's going to get a lot of money. This is probably going to be his last contract that he receives.
Yeah.
And I know he likes to stay out west. He's a Seattle guy from that area, I'm pretty sure. So why not just stay with the Giants and try to win a championship there?
I agree with you 100%. I also have him headed back to the Giants on a 3-year deal worth about $90 million, I think. Giants, no reason to let him go. I mean, he proved he can be real. Did he pitch a no-hitter this year? I think he
Mm-hmm.
did, right? He's proved that he can be really good when
Yeah.
he's out there and when he's fully healthy. So if he can, that's the thing though. You got to hope he stays healthy, but that's a risk you got to take, I think at least.
Yep.
So if he stays healthy, he will be an elite pitcher. Uh, Heading on to our next pitcher. This is an interesting one, Max Fried. Max Fried's very interesting. He had a good. He hadn't, I don't want to say good. It was an okay season. He had a 10-10 record, 3.42 ERA. It's good for 157 strikeouts over 165 and two-thirds innings pitched. So, like I said, good season. Nothing crazy special. Robert, where do you think Max Fried's going to be headed?
I got Max Fried going to the Orioles on a 6-year, $180 million deal. With the Orioles possibly losing Corbin Burns this offseason, they're going to be looking for an ace. And why not give Max Fried a shot? This guy, he's like give him like 2 years ago, he was a Cy Young contender in the
Oh
National
yeah.
League. So he's got a lot of talent. Um, so I think it would be perfect for them. And honestly, who wouldn't want to pitch in the Orioles ballpark when left field is like 450 feet? So it's going to play to your numbers eventually. So Max
I
Fried, welcome to
agree.
the Orioles.
I agree. I have him going to the Orioles as well on a 6-year deal worth 150 million. I think he's going to get paid like you said. The Orioles are probably going to lose Corbin, so they're going to need another ace if they want to keep competing in the AL East. And yeah, I think Fried would be the guy. He's a lefty, as we know. I don't know if the Orioles look into this. Yankees suck against lefties, so that's something I would look into if I was the division rival of the AL champions.
Hmm.
I mean, uh, yeah, that's about it for Max Fried. Heading on to the next guy, the guy who pooped his pants on national TV in the World Series, Mr. Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty pitched to a 13-7 record this year, a 3.17 ERA. It's good for 194 strikeouts over 162 innings pitched. Guy's a damn good pitcher. I mean, he did have that really bad game against the Yankees in the World Series, but guy's a dog. He's a really good pitcher. I'll be honest. I don't like saying it, but he's really good. Uh, yeah, that's about all I got to say about him. Congrats on the World Series, Jack. Robert, where do you got Jack Flaherty headed?
Jack Flaherty to me would be a perfect fit on the Boston Red Sox on a 5-year, $115 million deal. The Red Sox hate the Yankees. I don't think Jack Flaherty's the biggest Yankee fan, although I wouldn't be surprised if he signed with the Yankees, just saying. Just putting that out there. But the guy's he's a dog. He's a great player. And I think the Red Sox want to look for somebody like that on their team. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Detroit Tigers going back there. I think he really liked his time there before being traded to the Dodgers. So Flaherty, he's going to get a good contract coming off a championship. So welcome to the Red Sox.
This is a little off topic, real quick. I'll get back to Jack Flaherty in a second. I really wish Flaherty stayed with the Tigers because if they had him and Skubal in the playoffs, I really think they could have beat
Yeah,
the Guardians. I really
yeah,
think they could have, and that would have made our series really interesting. I don't know.
exactly.
Just I was just thinking about that when you mentioned Tigers, but back to the podcast. Yeah, there we go. I have Jack Flaherty headed back to the LA Dodgers on a 4-year deal worth $80 million. Dodgers just have like a staff of like 50 guys that throw over 100 and are like the nastiest pitchers ever. And Jack Flaherty's just going to be in there too, I guess. They have all these pitchers. It's like every time a Dodger pitcher gets injured, they have somebody else who's like better than most teams' ace, ready to go. I don't get it, but they always manage to do it. Yeah, that's about all for Jack Flaherty. Nice knowing you, buddy. Good job in the World Series, I guess. Next up, we have another man from Queens, Mr. Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea was huge for the Mets in the playoffs. This guy was clutch. He went 12-5 in the regular season with a 3.29 ERA, 183 strikeouts over 178 innings pitched. He was the Mets probably their best pitcher this year, I would say. He changed his arm angle to go a little bit lower, kind of like Chris Sale-esque, and it worked. That's all I gotta say is that worked. Uh, yeah, Robert, what do you guys say about him? Where you have Sean Manaea headed?
Yeah, Sean Manaea proved himself in the playoffs. This guy deserves a nice payday. And the Mets, which who I have him going back to the New York Mets on a 3-year, $70 million deal. And like I was saying, the Mets they got Senga as their ace, and then they got four other spots that they are looking to fill up. And they need somebody that they know in the early in the offseason who's going to be coming back in Sean Manaea. I think it's what both sides are going to want. And the Mets, I feel like every offseason predict that they're going to be signing everybody, that they're going to
And
be
then
signing
never
like,
do.
and they never do. Like they think they're going to be signing Corbin Burns, Blake Snell, Max Fried to fill up the rest of the rotation. Get a guy early in the offseason that you can count on to sign a decent contract for both sides, and start filling out that rotation with Sean Manaea first.
And just to add on to that, you know he's reliable too. Like what did I say his ERA was? He had a 3.29 ERA. So he rarely had a bad game this season.
And
I mean, that's very good stats. He had 61 walks, little high in 180 innings, but not bad. That's really not that bad. I mean, this guy's a really good pitcher, and I think the Mets would be crazy to let him go. Oh yeah, my prediction. I have Sean Manaea headed to one of our AL East rivals, the Baltimore Orioles, on a 4-year deal worth $65 million. So I have him and Max Fried both headed there. Do you notice a trend? They're both lefties. I really think that these teams in the AL East, I don't want them to do this, but I think they should take into consideration the Yankees can't hit lefties. I mean, I don't think it's going to change drastically over the offseason that they can magically hit lefties. So, I mean, that lefties are also harder to hit as it is, and these guys are both nasty. I think the Orioles need to do this. Uh, oh, now we got an interesting one. Now we have Mr. Roki Sasaki. This guy is interesting. I, I have his stats here. I did his whole time in Japan.
Japan.
So in 69 career games, which is 414 innings, he pitched to a 2.02 ERA and 524 strikeouts, only 91 walks. I mean, this guy, I mean, a 2.02 ERA, are you kidding me? That's insane. Robert, where do you have Roki Sasaki headed?
So I'm gonna give both predictions. I'm gonna give a realistic prediction and what I think could happen prediction. My realistic prediction is that Sasaki's gonna be signing with the LA Dodgers on a 12-year, around a $300 million deal. I mean, if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, I'd be very, very surprised. They've got Yamamoto, they got Otani. The market out west is much better for these Japanese players. But Sasaki, if I had to choose, come to the Yankees. But my fun reality team is going to be the Chicago Cubs on a similar
Okay.
deal. They got
They got Seiya Suzuki, so you could join him.
Suzuki.
Yeah.
So why not pair those two Japanese players? And Chicago's got the money, and they're looking for a talent pitcher probably this offseason, and give it a shot.
Yeah, I like that a lot actually. I honestly, on my Google Doc right here, I just have some question marks because I don't know. I have Dodgers because I really do think that he's going to go to the Dodgers because he just wants to join them. I have no clue how much money this guy is going to get. I mean, if he goes to the Dodgers, I could very well see him going on a deal like Shohei did and taking like no money just to play with his friends. If that happens, then the league would have to think of something because that is just not okay. That's not okay. I don't know.
Um,
I think what you gotta add?
Another point that I want to make is nobody really knows this guy over in America. We don't really know his personality. So what if Sasaki wants to be his own Japanese player on a separate
Yeah.
team
Oh,
and
that's
not
very
be
likely.
because if you're going to LA, it's Otani, Yamamoto, Sasaki.
Hey! Sorry, I'm
So
watching. Hold on one second. Shout out St. Bonaventure basketball. Watching them right now. Chance Moore with the slam. Shout out Chance Moore. All right, continue, Robert. I'm very sorry for the
so
interruption.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sasaki has this type of personality where he wants to be the Japanese star and come to like the Yankees or the Cubs or the Mets.
hmm
So where if he wins a championship, he's the main Japanese guy that all the kids are running over, and not Otani and Yamamoto.
I could very well see that. People also thought that would happen with Yamamoto. It clearly didn't. Shohei was the reason he went there. But I get what you're saying. Three of them on the same team. I feel like I would honestly want to be my own guy. Like, go make a
Yeah.
name for yourself, Sasaki. Um, okay, now we are on to our wild card starting pitchers. I'll go first. My wild card starting pitcher, Nathan Eovaldi, longtime vet in the league. He's been around. He always has good seasons, it feels like. He pitched this year to an 11-8 record with a 3.9 ERA. That's good for 161 strikeouts over 163 innings pitched, 28 starts. Evaldi's just reliable. I mean, he's just all reliable there, Nate Evaldi. And since he is all reliable, I have him coming to the Boogie Down Bronx. 2 years, $40 million for Nate Evaldi. They did it for Marcus Stroman. They're gonna do it for Nate Evaldi. Book it right now. Nate Evaldi to the Yankees.
Hmm.
Robert, who's your wild card pitcher?
I like that pick right there. He's played with the Yankees in the past, so why not bring him back?
Exactly.
And he's someone you can rely on. But for my wild card starting pitcher pick, I've got Luis Severino, one of my
Old friend.
former favorite player on the Yankees. But I got him going to the Boston Red Sox on a 4-year, $56 million deal. So
Okay.
maybe I won't be able to root for him anymore. But I think it's something that he's going to be getting a big contract, and the Mets might want to look to spend their money elsewhere on a guy with a history like Severino. And the Red Sox, what do you got to lose? Every year, you're thin on rotation starting pitching.
Exactly.
Give the guy a nice contract and try to allow him to redeem himself against the New York Yankees.
I agree. I agree 100%. Give Sevy a chance. Oh, if I had to see him pitching against us in Yankee Stadium, man, that would hurt me. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would hurt me. Headed on to now we are on to our relief slash closing pitchers. First up on our list, we have Mr. Blake Trinan, the man who single-handedly won not single-handedly, obviously the hitters, but pitching, he single-handedly won game five for the Dodgers, helped them win the World Series. That was a great pitching performance, by the way. I just feel like we should acknowledge that real quick. This guy came in Trinan's like a 15 pitch guy, and what did he throw? Like, did he throw over 30? I feel like he definitely did. He
Yeah,
threw a lot
he's
of
pushed
pitches that
that.
night. And I don't know. I shout out Blake Trinan, but this season Trinan had oh, he had one save, pitched to a 1.93 ERA. That's good for 56 strikeouts over 46 and two-thirds innings, only 11 walks. So this guy's legit. This guy is really good, and he's aging, but he's still playing good. He's been good since he was with the Athletics back in the day. Robert,
Mhm.
where do you think Blake Trinan's going to play and for how much?
Blake Trinan, I got you going to the Kansas City Royals on a 2-year, $30 million deal. Last year, the Royals they had a lot of trouble with their bullpen. It was middle ranked or down to the bottom of the league, so it's going to be something that they look to improve. It was definitely their biggest weakness last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and spend a little bit of money on somebody like Trinan, who's proven himself in the league over the past many seasons.
Yeah. We might be twins or something. We have twin telepathy. I swear we might. I also have him going to the Kansas City Royals. I promise we did not like tell we talked about the players, but we did not talk about the
No.
amount of money. That was a
Yep.
secret. So I have him going to the Royals 2 years, $48 million. Like you said, they need relief pitching. They had some guys come in the game in the playoffs that just could not throw strikes. They were getting nervous. Can't do that in the playoffs. Blake Trinan was not nervous in the playoffs. He came in and he shoved. So yeah, that's about all we got for Blake Trinan. Heading on to our lefty, Mr. Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott this year got traded over from the Marlins to the Padres to the deadline. Had a very good season. 22 saves, pitched to a 1.75 ERA, 84 strikeouts, and 72 innings pitched. That's incredible. That's very good. Tanner Scott, great pitcher. All the big market teams like Yankees, all them, they're gonna be after this guy. Robert, where do you think he's gonna land in the end?
At the end of the day, I think Tanner Scott will be playing for the San Francisco Giants
Hey,
on a bigger contract, looking 5 years, maybe 60 million. Which with relievers, that's kind of a big contract and kind of risky. But at the end of the day, Buster Posey, top guy in the organization, knows how important relief pitching is to be able to win yourself a World Series or even get
exactly.
to the playoffs. And at the end of the day, if the Giants are on the bottom of the league, you can trade him, get some big prospects for an arm like that towards the trade deadline. If you see you're out of playoff contention, so it's kind of a win-win either way.
I like that. I have Tanner Scott coming to the Boogie Down Bronx. The Boogie Down Bronx. I would love this guy, Tanner Scott and Tim Hill, two lefties in the bullpen. I love that. That's incredible. It helps Tim Hill so he doesn't have to pitch every night. And Tanner Scott's nasty. He throws 100 and a nasty slider. Those are two incredible lefties. Similar to who are you talking about? Oh, Christian Walker earlier. He's got a beard. Get rid of it. Get shaven. It's worth it. I promise. You're not going to regret it. And then, oh, Robert, you have anything else to say about Tanner Scott before we move on
I
to
mean,
our wild card?
we'll we'll get into this in future episodes that we have coming up. But one thing I think the Yankees really rely on is Matt Blake and him working his magic with these under the radar, low contract guys. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very surprised if the Yankees sign him. But I would be very happy if they sign him as he's probably the best relief pitcher in the league.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the best available, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Robert, you want to give your wild card guy first?
My wild card reliever is going to be Clay Holmes. Clay had a rough season last year. It started off very good, and towards the end of the season, it got really bad. But going in the playoffs, he looked very uh, much more like himself. So last year, 3.14 ERA, 68 strikeouts, and he had 30 saves, but or I'm pretty sure he tied the record for blown saves.
Oh God.
So that was a little
And
rough.
and and may I add one stat? Many heart attacks to Yankee fans. Both
Yeah,
fake
and
heart attacks and real
I would
ones.
just like to
So
make the point
awful.
that the Yankees defensive coordinator, whoever that guy is or whatever his title is, kind of screwed Clay a lot. This guy's a ground ball pitcher, and they always had the infielders shifting the other way for some reason.
Yeah,
The
and they would
complete
bring him into a
opposite direction.
situation. They would bring him into a situation where a sac fly would like tie the game. It's like he's a ground ball pitcher. He's like Tim Hill. They throw
Exactly.
sinkers. It's
So Clay
uh,
Holmes, I have you going to the Boston Red Sox on a 3-year, $30 million deal, which he's going to be getting a good contract, even though he didn't have the best season last year. The
yeah.
Red Sox, they need to add some weapons to their bullpen. And why not add a guy that could be a foe to the New York Yankees?
I agree. I like that. My wild card relief pitcher is Carlos Estevez of the Philadelphia Phillies currently. He had 26 saves this year, 2.45 ERA, 50 strikeouts, and 55 innings pitched. So not necessarily a strikeout guy, but he still got that when he needs it. He gave up that big grand slam, as many people know, for the grand slam to oh my God, why am I blanking? Who hit the grand slam for the Mets? Lindor, obviously. Lindor
Yeah.
in the DS gave up that big home run to Lindor, so that's all people really remember from his season. Kind of unfortunate there, but yeah. Carlos Estevez, I have him headed right back to Philadelphia. I don't think he wants to play anywhere else. He's going to go right back to the Phillies. 3 years,
Why
35
not?
million. Nice, easy deal. Phillies got to keep that bullpen together. They also got Jeff Hoffman. Shout out Jeff Hoffman, 518 legend right there. 518, shout out.
Represent.
And Tommy Canley. Tommy Canley's
Love
not in his
A.
video, but shout out Tommy Canley.
Somebody paid Tommy Canley. Give the guy a bag. Come on now.
I love Tommy Canley. He's so cool. Uh, yeah, Robert, you got any final thoughts on our free agents before we head into our dream Yankee offseason?
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these players sign where we're saying. I mean, I think we're kind of close to where they want to end up. So at the
hmm
end of the day, we'll just have to wait, and yeah, we'll see.
Leave a comment down below if you guys want to, and let us know your free agent predictions. Let us know if you disagree with us or agree with us or whatever. We'll respond to any comment. DM us on Instagram, whatever. We'll respond. So with that, we are going to be heading into our dream Yankee offseason. So we will do, yeah, we'll do. What do you want to do, Robert? You want to do three players?
We'll do
It has to be. It's got to be realistic. Let's not. We
three
can't just
players,
say, yeah,
three players realistic. It can be hitter, pitcher, reliever, all the above,
yeah, whatever you want to do.
and we'll see from there.
Okay, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. So first of
Okay.
all, we'll be re-signing Juan Soto on a big contract. So that doesn't leave us with a lot of dough to work with. So let's give me Christian Walker over at first base. Let's try to come to an agreement with him. He's not going to cost a lot. We got a lot of money coming off the books this offseason, so that can only
hmm
help us. So Juan Soto, Christian Walker, and then give me a good solid starting pitcher. If I had to choose any of these starting pitchers, give me Sasaki. But realistically, I think it's going to be somebody like I don't even know. I don't think they're going to be spending money on a Snell or Corbin Burns or Max
Like
Fried.
Evaldi, like someone like
Realistically,
Nate Evaldi.
realistically, I would see Jack Flaherty coming to the Yankees. I would not be surprised. They're really interested in him and almost traded for him, but they didn't like his physical over the last trade deadline. So I
Yeah.
would not be surprised if Jack Flaherty is in pinstripe starting next season.
Okay. I like that. My three now. Obviously, I gotta say Juan Soto. He's coming back. I'm not worried at all. His meeting's this coming Monday. Don't know if anybody saw that on Twitter or Instagram or whatever today, but meeting's Monday. Praying, crossing fingers. I am terrified. Just kidding. I'm not scared. He's coming. Why would he want to leave? So, Juan Soto is my first guy. Secondly, I don't really want to copy you, but Christian Walker. Like Christian Walker is that dude. We need a first baseman. Ben Rice. Ben Rice, yeah. eh, eh. I don't know. I don't think Ben Rice is the guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the kid. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, to put in
Just
perspective, Major League Baseball is so hard that when you get up from AAA, it's like you're playing the game all over again. So
yeah,
Ben
it's
Rice, he
not.
had he had a good stint with the Yankees, which we'll get into this in future episodes, so we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here.
Yes,
But
exactly,
Ben
exactly.
Rice, you're going to be in AAA to start the season and try to put up some great numbers there, and we'll see.
So I'm gonna do Soto, Christian Walker, and then I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna do Tanner Scott. I had him going to the Yankees in my predictions. I'm gonna say him.
Oh
I
yeah,
really think that lefty in the bullpen could help us. Our rotation, I hope we get like a Nate Eovaldi or like a Flaherty, like you said, someone like that. I don't really see us getting any of the big pitchers in this market because we're going for Soto. So I think that would lead us to go to more like middle of the road. And if we get Christian Walker too.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that's about it. Let me pull up on our Instagram page, Bronx underscore banter, the questions that were sent in by our lovely fans. Here's the Instagram account. If anybody wants to follow, Bronx underscore banter. Let me go to our story. So some questions that were sent in from from Nico. Nico is sending in all the questions. He's
Shout out
saying like three
Nico.
questions. Shout
What a
out Nico. Oh
guy.
my gosh.
Taking the
So
time.
this question is specifically for myself, Chris. He said, at Chris, do the Yankees lose all of Soto, Torres, and Holmes? Two of three could come to the Sox, meaning the Red Sox. First of all, I don't. I mean, we're gonna lose two out of those three. We're probably gonna lose Clay and Glaber, not Soto. And you have Clay going to the Red Sox, but Glaber ain't going to the Red Sox. I'll tell you that. And Soto, you guys can't even afford Soto. So what do you mean he's going to the Red Sox? You can't afford Soto. You don't got the money. You don't got the money like Hal does. Uh, Robert, this next question is for you from Nico also. Nico says, at Robert, if Soto goes to the Mets, Dodgers, Blue Jays, or Red Sox, do you believe that the Yankees will still make the playoffs?
First of all, shout out Nico, our top fan. Always hitting the like button, always commenting, always giving us different questions. So shout out Nico.
Yep.
And Chris, that question goes, I don't mean to remember what you said, but Juan Soto is a New York Yankee. If Juan Soto signs with another team, the Yankees are still making the playoffs just like they have every other year except for 2020 or 2022, was it?
Three, three,
23.
three.
That was a rough year. We don't like to remember that, but even if Juan Soto doesn't sign with the Yankees, they're still a championship caliber team and they'll spend that money elsewhere. But Juan Soto, come on, you're gonna be wearing pinstripes at the end of the day. You want your number in Monument Park.
And then final question we'll be talking about. Fan Tori. Tori asks us, who will Soto sign with? They want your opinion and my opinion. So obviously, I think I can speak for both of us. He's going to the Yankees. He wants to be a Yankee. He's going to be a Yankee. There's not much else to it. He's gonna be a Yankee. And if he's not, well, we will have a whole episode dedicated to that. So just stick around, I guess. Robert, what are your thoughts on that question?
Yeah, this question isn't even a question. Even isn't even a question. Excuse my English. Juan Soto is a New York Yankee. We've been saying this all year. We'll just keep
Mm-hmm.
on saying it. And until the day I see him in a different uniform, he's gonna be a Yankee. I mean,
Exactly.
Cashman, Hal, they're gonna be getting all. They're gonna be rolling out the red carpet for this guy on Monday. I mean, they're taking all their time away from their family to go out all the way to California just to speak to this guy who's already been on our team and knows what we're about. So if they didn't feel it was that important, they wouldn't be doing that. So obviously they want him this bad to go all the way out west and talk
Yeah.
to the
We
generational
need
Juan
we
Soto.
need Soto. We need Soto on this
We
team.
really need it.
I need to see him in right field when I'm sitting out in those seats next year. I don't want to see anybody else in right field but Soto. Unless
Yep.
he's DHing that day. If he's DHing that day, I'm fine with it.
Let's put Juan Soto at first base.
Or
Future,
Judge. Judge is
future episodes.
6'7".
Future episodes.
Just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Subscribe to Bronx Banter. Turn on those post notifications. You don't want to miss an episode. Promise you that. Robert, you got anything else to add? Or before I wrap this episode up, think that's about it.
No, I think that's it. Everybody follow our Instagram, Bronx underscore banter. Subscribe. road to 100 subscribers. Let's get that started. Let's like. Our last video did pretty well, so let's keep it up and
Hmm.
share with your friends, share with your grandma, share with your aunts, and let's
Anybody.
keep going.
I agree. Just like Robert said, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, like all the videos, subscribe. If you're just joining us for this video, go watch the rest of the videos because they're all interesting. We give great stats in all the videos. We have questions, and make sure to follow us on Instagram so you guys have a chance to be in the video like Nico and Tori were. Um, with all that being said, though, we appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you guys for sticking around until the very end. Make sure to comment your free agent predictions down below. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. And as
Go
always, let's go
Yankees.
Yankees. Let's go Yankees.